But first, the effort to keep repeat offenders behind bars. From the streets to the roundhouse, this is something you have been talking about for years. The change being proposed. Now, a big part of that, pretrial detention. Target 7's John Cardinelli details a Senate bill looking to keep more violent offenders behind bars.
At a news conference yesterday, Bernalillo County District Attorney Sam Bregman voiced his support of Senate Bill 123, a bipartisan bill dealing with pretrial detentions. It asks that people who commit crimes like first-degree murder or other violent felonies aren't released before trial.
What I'm asking is to rip the Band-Aid off right now and recognize that what we need to do is not be pointing fingers at judges, but fix the process. And I'm begging the legislature to fix the process. Either a rebuttable presumption is something I certainly support.
Bregman says the bill needs to pass because time and time again, people charged with crimes are let out before their trial and are charged with additional crimes.
It's important to note the following. An examination of the 2,845 defendants who were let out despite our motion to detain them, 1 in 5 committed crimes.
The data referenced comes from his office. Bregman says 49% of those who went on to reoffend were charged with violent crimes.
Is that accurate? Is that an accurate reflection of what's going on?
That's not my experience, and that's not what other people's data says.
Jonathan Ibarra is a felony supervisor with the Public Defender's Office.
You've supplied me with this, and you've also supplied me with this. Can you kind of break it down for us and tell us what these statistics show and what these reports show for Bernalillo County?
Of course. So these are statistics from 2 different studies by some of the same people so back in 2021, approximately 5% of those people go on to commit a new violent crime. The most recent study shows that of 15,000 people that they looked at who have been released, again, just under 5% of those are accused of committing a violent crime.
Ibarra says according to the UNM study in 2021 and the recent study done by Chris Moore, most of the people who are released before trial and are accused of reoffending catch a misdemeanor charge.
Is Bill 123 a fair bill to keep violent offenders behind bars until trial?
I don't believe that it is. You're really requiring people who are presumed innocent to prove their innocence, to let them out of jail.
Is there a good compromise here or a good solution in all of this?
Anytime you draw a line where some people are getting released and some people are being let out, someone who is let out is going to commit a crime. There's no getting around that. We're dealing with humans. We're dealing with people who are fallible.
For Target 7, I'm John Cardinelli.
A similar bill tried to get through the roundhouse last year, but it did not pass.